I want to sing, "Oh, Doctor, I'm in trouble." And you sing, "Oh, goodness
gracious me.
We must be old." Just like our first and only guest in this episode of That
That's
Time.
a terrible thing to say.
I know. David Cronin, welcome to Our Time.
Thank you, Malcolm. Hi, Janice.
Nice to have you with
The
us.
reason I was singing that was because it just came into my head. Clown Doctor, "Oh, Doctor, I'm in trouble." Well, goodness gracious me.
Yes.
You've had the most interesting career. So let's go through it from the beginning, because there's a big story to tell. So you were born here in South Australia?
Yes, Malcolm. Yeah, born and raised.
What got you interested in performing?
I always loved playing as a child, making up games, and I think that carried over, you know, right from, that's the earliest memories, and loving that. I even made board games and, you know, the costumes when we'd play in the street. In those days, you'd run around, you know, the neighbours. And
Absolutely.
So I was always the one running the game, whether we were knights in armour, we'd have to have the whole
Dress
regalia and everything. Yeah.
It's such a familiar story, though.
Yeah.
For all of us, that age, we all did exactly the same sorts of things.
Yeah, well, I just carried on.
But you know, it's
You haven't grown up then.
That's always
In some ways, yeah.
But it's an interesting thing to make a point of, because people with kids, grandkids or their own kids, who they recognise those things in, they really need to recognise it and say, hang on, you may have something that will give you the most colourful life like yours.
Yeah, my whole life has been promoting I'm passionate about play and the power of play, and I'm still doing that, yes.
But Clown Doctor, that's how... Yeah, explain what that means.
That came along the way. As you know, I got into clowning as Jingo the Clown. I came back to Australia after being in Europe, and then part of that was exploring, you know, the benefits of laughter and why it's so good for you and all that. Because I was a professional, I looked into all of that, and I realised there's that medical side to it. Found out about the clown doctors, and I heard they were coming to Adelaide eventually. They took a while. They started in Adelaide. You know, the interstate. And, that was something I thought, I'd love to do, because it's an avenue that you really are able to make a difference in a way.
It's interacting with the sick kids in hospital, basically.
Yeah, obviously there. Well, a lot of people think that... it's funny you started out with the doctors, because... a lot of people would mistake us for doctors, you know. They'd come in and they'd ask, are you doctors, sort of thing.
Okay.
But it's a clown character, obviously. We're putting on a red nose and a white... They gave us white coat. Well, doctors don't wear white coats anymore, you know.
No.
So it's pretty obvious that we had funny... well, they still do. I've left about 2 years ago and moved on. But, that beautiful thing is that there are always more adults in the room than children often, so it was the whole family we worked with, all ages.
Entertaining the masses, really.
Well, children from 0 to 18,
To take the mind off their ailments at the time.
It's a critical time often. Sometimes they're just bored in hospital. They're there for a few days, the average child,
So you decided to go to Europe because...
Oh, basically at that stage, I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do, Malcolm. Still in my early 20s, I'd studied around and tried various things. And
did you take up a profession? Did you go to uni and do something that you
I went to Flinders, and I just couldn't sit still. I did a couple of years at Teachers College and things, and I went off, and I realised I have to do things first, act, basically.
See the world.
So I went off and did some various... I went into state and studied for another couple of years, and then decided, no, I still can't. I didn't finish anything, really. And, I thought of, I'll do the grand tour, and that might sort me out, and I did.
So where did you go in Europe?
Yeah, I had connections in Germany just from Australia, so I went there first. I was planning to go on, you know, and around the world sort of thing, or visit other countries, but I stayed in Germany, which was great because it's central. You can actually, people went to England, you know, and they'd have to work all year to earn enough to go off on a bus for a couple. Well, I could make decent money in Germany, actually.
Okay.
Were the people you saw in Germany working, did they inspire you? Is that
very much
that ignited the fuse, so to speak?
Yeah, you had that interface with the East, and it took me a year or two to sort out what I wanted to. I actually went down and spent a year then. I was still sorting myself out in a way on the road. I just need to sort of move. And, we went to winter over on a kibbutz, And I realised, okay, there was a school in Tel Aviv. And I said, no, this is it. That was kind of the moment when I said, I'm going to be a clown. There was a school there. I didn't know a word of... But he spoke German. He was a Russian Jew, the teacher that I was working with. And I'd learned enough German by then. So somehow we got through this basics of clowning there.
Is it because it's physical? Because clowning is such a physical thing?
It is, yeah, exactly. That's right. It's
doesn't
physical,
need language?
It's physical theatre, yeah. And after I'd finished in Germany, kind of the last, I went to a finishing school in Rome for a year too. And that was the same thing there, really. It was all about physical theatre.
Had you not done that, had you not gone to Europe at that time, and had you not done those courses, classes, or mixed with those people,
yeah.
Do you think you would have developed into what you've become had you stayed in Australia?
Oh, no, obviously in those days there were schools here and all that, but you don't go to night or... Well, you could have learnt clowning maybe there. It was a lot of it in between.
But not to the extent?
No, no. It was watching fantastic clowns, you know, Swiss clowns all over in Germany, French. And, of course, I got across to Eastern Europe too. I went to Poland and worked with all sorts of theatre groups there.
And that's where a lot of this comes from, isn't it?
Well, I was just going to say, but where are the clowns performing? Is it all circuses or where?
Oh, no, everywhere, yeah, no, in theatres. In Europe, it's very classical, so they'd be in theatres, in small, even big theatres, the best, yeah.
Which we don't have here, do we?
Well, we sort of do now. There's more of that sort of...
performing.
There is a clown, there is a circus school that teaches a lot of those things. But did you learn to do a lot of this?
Yeah, that's what I learned first of all, the proper mime, yeah, very much Russian circus trained, yeah.
Right.
He was a rigid, yeah.
Look, we should have a look at what you actually look like so that people know sort of what the character is. Jingo the Clown is, well, was your clown name, still is, I guess.
No, not anymore. Jingo's faded off.
Has Jingo faded? Well, look at you there.
Yeah, that was my bread and butter for a long time, as well as the children's shows, which we'll talk about in a minute too.
Clown and comic entertainment, I like that.
Yeah. So,
well, this is certainly comical.
Yeah, well, we're very interconnected in Adelaide, as you can see.
As you can see, yes, exactly.
Yeah, Christine, we did a show in shopping centres, all sorts of places there.
Well, Christine, we had on the show before she had a hip replacement. We must check out how that went, Christine. Come and see us again.
Yes.
From doing all of these things, yes, children performing performances have become very much your bread and butter, but it must be difficult to earn a living because by this time you're married, have a family?
Yeah, married, coming back to... I married a German, actually, and divorced in the meantime, but that's...
Another whole story.
Yeah, we'll stay with this. I married a lovely... We're still lovely, had two lovely children, but, yeah, of course, raising a family, it was only because of my dear wife worked as well, and we both managed,
Because when people think of this, I guess you think more of, you know, sort of, well, what I call rag and bone performances because you've got very little props and stuff to work with. You've got to just work with what's there. You also can't afford to have expensive stuff that can be damaged or broken. So you really do have to work with just human comedy and physically, don't you?
Yeah, very much. It was, the shows were basic anyway. They need to be, I did school shows as well. So, no, we'd build up a set often. I remember the first set I had was a lot. The first one we did, we had all flats and everything, and I thought, oh no, this is just too much. So yeah, they got less and less.
Very difficult to carry around. Did you have a combi van? Because everyone had a combi van then, I think.
Yeah, no, I had a station wagon in those days.
Okay.
Put stuff on, but yeah, no.
So what did this mean to you, the connection with kids? Because, you know, seeing the joy in a child's eyes when they suddenly connect.
Exactly, yeah. That's always the motivation as a clown to... You're really coming in as a catalyst there, whether it's a birthday party or a festival or whatever it is, just to raise that joy level higher.
Oh, I remember doing things at school with the State Opera Company many years ago, but these children, as you say, the look on their faces, they'd just take it all in. And I remember in this particular show that it was called The Catfish That Cried, and I was crying, and these littlies in the front, you could see their little mouths going. It's like, they just were there with me. It was just beautiful.
Yeah.
So you do. I mean, the joy that you get from performing and seeing their faces
it's fantastic.
is
Yeah, of course. It's an iconic character, the clown. So yeah, you have that tradition and that kind of obligation, I suppose. Yeah.
So does age affect the clown?
Does age affect the clown? No.
Do you still do somersaults and cartwheels and across the board?
Oh, no, I don't ride the uni or do stilts and all that.
Do you juggle anymore?
Occasionally, yeah, just for fun, actually, for exercise, believe it or not, because I sit and ride a lot more now.
Well, that's good. Well, that's what we want to talk to you, and we're going to come back to talk about what he's doing now. Our special guest on this program is Jingo the Clown. Welcome back.
Yes, David. What a life you've had. It's just wonderful. I mean, it must have been, you said that you were away for, what, 12 years?
Yes, on and off, 12 to 15 years interstate and overseas, Janice, yeah.
So
but you've also been a straight actor in your life as well, and you're working on two streams, if you like, of new stuff. Mindfulness has become a word that everyone's been using lately. Where do you fit into this big picture?
Yeah, not so much mindfulness. I find that a little, that's a whole niche. Mine's more workshops, physical, interactive. I'm into laughter yoga, which is...
If you're behind a Dagwood dog, I'd be laughing.
Exactly. It's pure laughter, just for the health benefits. So you do the physical action. For example, you just go ha 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 ha. Take any song or whatever you like, or we just play little games. And once you do that for a minute, you know you're going to get the benefits. As you know, you feel good after a laugh.
Well, you oxygenate yourself a bit.
You feel good after yoga too. So double header.
Was that yogurt or yoga?
Yoga.
Yeah, but a lot of people think yoga, I've got to do all these, tie myself in knots. So we just do the laughter. It's purely the aerobic, not the stretching part. Yeah, so they've just taken that little niche and you just laugh for the pure benefit of it. And, of course, in a group, it's infectious anyway when we smile or laugh together. So, yeah.
So this little handbill, the 7 success secrets from the circus, practical strategies for well-being, minimising stress and maximising productivity. Where did this come from, David?
Well, this is part of every corporate, or even schools now. Everyone's got a wellness program right through every business. So right from corporate to community, I do workshops and go-ins. So it can be even for councils or schools. Year 11s especially. So it's basically stress management, really, because a lot of people now, even right down to primary schools, they're getting more stressed, unfortunately.
That's true. I know you're going to close this show with a song that in many ways I know is about losing some of that stress by realising what's causing the stress. But leaders of the future need to be creative, which is very true. We've got to find better ways of doing what we're doing that's causing more stress.
Yeah, very much, yeah. It's not just about relaxing, which is mindfulness and all of that, learning techniques, that's part of it. But it's also then just taking control of your own emotions. And laughter, the beautiful thing is it's mental, physical and emotional. It's the whole box and dice.
And exercises your body.
Yeah.
And if you are having a heart attack, if you do that same sort of movement, apparently it keeps your heart or your breathing going if you feel you're having a
It is amazing, yeah. They've done studies and the science is incredible. You get not just the oxygen, as I said, the physical action, you get these fantastic chemicals. And they've done studies where they've been able to save people, literally. They've checked, they've had a heart attack, their first one, often it's the second one that gets you. Yeah. And they've been able to stop that second one by introducing laughter programs, things like that.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it really works.
Do you think that's because it's part of the human condition that we're sort of almost breeding out of us? The fact that we're not laughing. We don't laugh as much as we used to.
Very much.
Do you remember when we were both young, we were working in shows and stuff, and you'd laugh all night?
All the time.
All the time.
And because you'd try and send somebody up.
Of course.
Yeah.
We were never that naughty.
Yeah.
This Silly Galahs, this is obviously a CD that you've made?
Yeah, as I said, I do shows in schools, so that's really a compilation show of, I did themes. When you go into schools, you need to connect with the curriculum. So they all had various themes, and this is my latest show, along with a pirate show I'm still doing. And Silly Galahs has got, my favourite, a lot of my favourites in.
And you wrote the song?
I like this. Bendy Banana.
Yeah, that's a real...
The Platypus Plunge.
They're real danceable tunes, so we get the children dancing and they learn and through them this.
I like What's That Knockin'? That's really cute. And what's your T-shirt down there?
Yeah, so I was talking about the laughter yoga. What I do in South Australia is coordinate basically the laughter yoga clubs, and they're a free community service which people can come along to, laughteryoga.com. And as I say, then I do the corporate and community gigs. I go out and do those.
So people can actually connect with you for free if you live here?
Yeah, obviously. But I go into everything, like I said, from schools to nursing homes. I go out and do a program, combine the laughter with music a lot. So it's right across the board. Every music, every wellness.
I don't know. You just have to laugh at that, David. Look at you.
Yeah, that's right. You come in and you want people to start laughing. Really, it's like kick-starting. You know, on a motorbike, you used to have to kick-start the thing on a lawnmower. So we literally have a lawnmower laugh. You can do it. You just go, ha, 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 ha. And it kick-starts the real thing.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I absolutely get it.
So you started this. Are there other groups around that do the same thing?
Yeah.
Because of you?
Yeah. Look, a doctor, because of me, well, we kept it going when he came about 20 years ago, the Indian doctor who started Laughter Yoga.
Yes.
And, we've seeded through all Australia now. It's spread right through.
Fantastic.
Kept it going, and it's all right, worldwide now.
Yeah.
It's great because as we're getting older, a lot of physical exercise can be difficult, but something like laughter is so natural for us to do.
The principle is it's fun, so you're more likely to do the exercise, because it's fun, because most people don't exercise. They buy a gym membership and don't go.
That's true. Or they buy the equipment and it sits around the house and you think, what's that doing in the corner?
Exactly.
I just wanted to ask you something more about the other side of your life now, because you've grown both as a performer, music, but writing is now becoming...
Yes, Malcolm, I've always written the children's shows, but I started writing one... I was just interested always in Shakespeare, being an actor. Every actor probably is, but I was fascinated. I wrote a play about his death, which was back 5 years ago, the anniversary, of his death. And in that I discovered that he didn't actually write the plays. The lady 15 years ago discovered the true author. So I was fascinated that, my interest was that, what was he, how did he do that? Did he have a secret life, or was he a spy or something? I was kind of interested in all that side of it as a comedian. And turns out that this real author then used Shakespeare as a front, and he had lots of secrets. He was always saying, shh, keep the secret. That was his sort of byline, if you like, to his friends, because he had lots of other secrets, not just the writing of the Shakespeare. He is a fascinating character. That's why I've written a play about him now, the man who wrote Shakespeare.
Now, people are going to obviously argue against that belief.
And that's part of the reason for writing the play, because it's such a rusted on. After 400 years, Shakespeare. What they say is, I love Shakespeare, but they mean the works. But of course, the man gets put into that.
Well, I've been to his house, I've got to say, which isn't there.
Exactly.
Which isn't there.
It isn't there.
No.
It's just the ground where it used to be.
Exactly.
Because it was knocked over. And I've been to his parents' house where he's supposed to be born.
Oh, you've done that.
And as you walk through, there's a little cradle beside the parental bed that has a sign, this is probably where Shakespeare was as a baby.
Yeah.
And I've been to his wife's parents' house, so I've clearly been to Stratford on Avon. But interesting, because there's a whole generation of people living and working in Stratford who rely on the fact that Shakespeare did what he did. I've seen where he was buried.
Huge,
Done all that.
There's a whole, in every university there's a English, it's bigger in a lot of countries than even in England. It's huge, and Stratford's the second biggest thing after London.
Without getting too involved in the process, why don't people think he wrote it, what he wrote?
This man who's turned up, unfortunately, he's got all the cred, you see. His library is still there. His house actually burnt down about 100 years ago, but luckily 15 years before that they'd moved his library to a relation up near Cambridge. And it's sitting there. You can read all his notes, the reference books. And yeah, unfortunately, as you say, that's part of it.
It's a program in itself, as you said.
It is, yeah.
So we'll move on because there's more in your life to talk about. You're also an actor. Oh no! Before we move off the piece that you're writing, you're looking to crowdfund that too, aren't you?
Yes, indeed. It'd be great to just get up a first run of the play so that we can, then.
Well,
see
I've got
how
a theatre, you know.
Yeah,
exactly.
Funny about that.
So there's an interesting. That's another interesting side to your personality, but you're also an actor, and you're about to play. One of the founding fathers of South Australia, Arthur Hardy.
Arthur Hardy, yes.
Very interesting man. What do you know about him before you start playing him?
Yeah, he was one of the founding fathers, probably one of the most important. And of course, like Shakespeare, man, he's gone a little unnoticed. So we're bringing him out again. They call him, in the play, it's the hero of the hills because he had a huge area there, Piccadilly, and he built Mount Lofty House, things like that. And
he was a member of Parliament and ran several other organisations, but basically died a pauper.
A prominent lawyer right until he was over 90. Amazing man. Yeah.
Wow.
We want to save a bit of time to hear this song, and we're going to be back with that in just a moment.
Okay.
Our special guest is David Cronin. It's been fascinating talking to you. Something that we said before, you've got 2 children, and they're both followed in your footsteps.
Yes, my son's a singer-songwriter and he's touring Europe at the moment. My daughter's, she's doing a secondary degree actually in art, physical art.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Visual art, it's called.
So what do you want to be when you grow up?
Younger and younger.
Well, that's a good answer. No one said that before. No. Younger and younger. I think that's a great answer.
No, the artist is always young. That's because you're never finished as an artist. That's the thing. You're never perfect. Perfection is a dream. So
it's true actually. And the older we get, the more refined we become because we can't be so physical anymore. We have to say goodbye, but before we actually finish this program, David has a wonderful social commentary song. Is that the best way to describe it? Don't start yet.
Good.
We're going to say goodbye.
Yes. Until next time.
Goodbye.
Take care.
Keep yourself nice till next time we see you. And here is the man of many characters, words and expressions, clown and fantastic actor and human being, David Cronin.
Take it away.
Thank you, Janice. Thank you, Malcolm. Imagine there's no Facebook. It's very hard to do. No Twitter, Snapchat or Instagram. We'd all be in the pool. Imagine all the people speaking to each other once again. You may say I'm a dreamer. Maybe I'm the only one. But thank you for not looking at your phones while I'm singing this song. But now you're welcome to share it on social media with everyone. Just make sure you wake up and laugh. Wake up and laugh, ho, ho, ha, ha, hee, hee. Wake up and laugh, ho, ho, ha, ha, hee, hee. Wake up and laugh, ho, ho, ha, ha, hee, hee. Wake up and laugh, ho, ho, ha, ha, hee, hee. Ho, ho, ha, ha, hee, hee.
That's lovely.
Thunderous clapping from the amassed crowd.